Shall we begin?
Hey YouTube, Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know I promised you everything and I want to give you everything, but there's just too many fish for me to give you all the fish in one video. So let's do this. Let's start with a type of fish that a lot of you seem to enjoy quite a bit, and that is the peacocks. So in this video, we will attack the everything problem with that first segment called peacocks, okay? Let's take a look at the peacocks. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell, and thank you for tuning in. Let's go. So let's start with a very common favorite of people who keep peacocks, and that's the bicolor 500. This is a beautiful fish whose name derived from being number 500 in a catalog of cichlids. A little interesting bit of trivia. Beautiful fish. He'll get around 5 inches. He's not going to be a big peacock. Those of you who follow my channel know that the ruby red is a fish I like quite a bit. I love the red in the body, the orange red, and how it contrasts with the almost metallic blue that you see in the face. You can see this specimen here is a very good looking fish. Probably end up around 6 inches or so. It's not going to get huge. A lot of these peacocks are not massive fish, and this one certainly will not get as big as, let's say, a hap, or something like one of the larger haps like a Venus's, or even a Malawi hawk will eventually be much larger than this fish here. But the colors on this fish, I've seen different varieties. Sometimes you see them in a much brighter red, almost like a cherry red, and they are compared sometimes to what some people call a German red. And I've had German reds, and I've loved them, but the coloration in the face of the ruby reds is something I just like a bit more than the German red. This fish is often called a sunshine, and it is a Benga peacock, one that I picked up from the Wonder of Cichlids. You can always tell when you're being provided with a good quality fish because they just have a lot of meat on their bones. You can see this one here is very significant. He's filled out. He's a strong, husky fish, and just a beautiful specimen, a beautiful shade of yellow, and that complements that blue face and the blue in the lips. I've been very happy with this fish from Trevor. A fluorescent, of course, is one of the fish that got me to really stay in peacocks. There was a time when I was actually contemplating going exclusively over into your haps, or into what you would call your predator fish, and I had this fluorescent all of a sudden start to blossom, start to show some of the adult colors, and at that point I was completely helpless. There was no way I could abandon peacocks and go strictly with the Haplochromis or the predator haps exclusively. I decided, because of this fish and the beautiful coloration in the body, the yellow and the blues that worked their way through the yellow, the beautiful face, the markings on the tail, and the nice white line at the top of the dorsal. I would say that this fish here is probably responsible for me becoming recommitted to keeping peacocks in my tanks and not switching entirely over to your predator haps, your Haplochromis. If you remember, a while back there was a bit of a craze going through the community, and people were really getting into the predators. This fish here, the blue neon, it's a fish I always wanted to have. I'd see it in other people's tanks, and I was blown away by it. I always was a little bit reluctant to get it, only because it was a bit a bit similar to the bicolor 500 and even to the fluorescent a little bit. So I didn't want to have a situation where fish were so similar that they would start to battle each other. But I've had this fish in here for a little while, and he's done very well. He's got beautiful markings in the body, prominent egg spots on the anal fin, and just a very pretty specimen. Again, he has that white line on the dorsal. I think any peacock collection would not be complete without a lemon jake. The yellow of a lemon jake, together with the blue that you see in the body. In this case, you can see some of it here on the tips of the tail. Just a beautiful specimen. Again, another fish I picked up from the wonder of cichlids, Trevor O'Shea, who provides nothing but top quality. This fish can have a bit of an attitude. He is small, but I think he considers himself one of the bigger dogs, and doesn't really realize that he is one of the smaller fish. And he does, from time to time, chase or get into it with other fish. But for the most part, he's been pretty peaceful, and I've been very happy with him. The next fish is the red shoulder, and this one is over in the 60 gallon, and at some point will be coming over to the 100 because he's getting big enough, and he has the enough of an attitude, I think, that he would survive and do well in that tank. He has a tremendous array of colors throughout the body, including a two-tone tail, and he's kind of like a bicolor 500, except an orange-red stripe behind the gills instead of that yellow-green you see in the bicolor. This fish is a pickup from a local fish store. You can see the beautiful outline on the dorsal fin, and somehow a little orange from behind the gills is at the bottom of his tail as well, and he just really stands out, really blossomed nicely. These local fish store pickups are usually around $10, and of course no shipping, so they're a real steal when you can find them. This one I picked up at Glendale Tropical Fish, a place I stop at from time to time just to see what they've got, and sometimes I get a real surprise. This is my sulfur head, and I've been checking on the internet because someone suggested it might be a hybrid because of the egg spots, but I have seen numerous specimens of sulfur head with egg spots depicted, in the lists that you'll find on the internet. So I'm not entirely convinced this is a hybrid, but it could be, and if it is, that's okay. He's still a beautiful fish. That blue and green on the cheeks and on the gills really makes him pop. And those egg spots and the blaze that runs from his upper lip up over the dorsal halfway across his body is just stunning. Just a very, very beautiful fish. One of my favorite fish. When I first got him, again from a local fish store, he was just very drab and kind of gray, and I thought maybe I had picked up a female, and then it was almost like overnight he just really started popping. And very often when people watch videos of the 60 gallon, this is usually the fish that they ask about, apart from the red cap that you see there in the background. Yeah, he's trying to photobomb. This video is not about you, sir. So at any rate, this is the sulfur head, certainly one of my favorites. So those are the peacocks. What do you think? Am I missing some? Are there some in there that are your favorites? Are there some that you think I should get? What do you think? Put your comments below. Be sure to write your comments below. Don't forget to rate, share, and hit that bell so that you become part of that Convo Gang, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're always appreciated. You know that. And in my next video on the Everything series, I think we'll look at the predators. We'll look at the haps, the haps that are in my tanks, both the medium-sized haps and the big boys that are in the tank behind me. All right, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in a few days. Bye-bye.